Did I just hear the Wilhelm scream? What's up, you friends and family of Cardivox Academy? Mark here, and today we're doing something kind of different. So I am filming this very early in the morning on Tuesday. It's gonna be scheduled for later, but it's for Tuesday because I am about to go on a 4-day trip maybe, for my bachelor party. We're going up to the woods and playing Dungeons and Dragons for like days on end. And I'm not gonna have a chance to film it, so we're doing it now. That being said, I needed something in a pinch, and our own Alex tossed this to me and said, hey, do this one. So we're doing this one. Paleface, first time I've ever heard of this band. They're from Switzerland, and he told me it's kind of like more of like a hardcore beatdown with like slam elements. So not really sure what to expect per se, but it should be fun. A little bit of background on me. I'm the vocalist for Kardashev, Neverbreath, and Viramia. I've been doing metal vocals for 10, almost 11 years now. I am a vocal coach, and I give lots and lots of one-on-one lessons, close to 30 hours of one-on-one lessons a week. Pretty busy, but it's a blessing, not a curse. And if you enjoy the content, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And let's go ahead. Let's listen to this song. Let's break it down. Let's analyze it. Let's have some fun. So here we go. Looks just from the little section I found here, looks rather intense. So I don't know. Uh-oh. That's creepy. That's creepy. Okay, so a minute and a half in, and I definitely hear the hardcore vibes. So I'm going to make one presumption here about how the rest of the song is going to go and the type of vocals that we're going to hear. And I'm going to say that if you are looking to do this type of metal vocal, you really, really need to understand how breath support works. Okay, reason is you can make these types of screams that he's doing super safely. You're not going to have any issues. You'll be fine. You can also make this exact same sound completely incorrectly, like super incorrectly, right? And the reason for that is when we're doing things very loudly, very maximally, right? Sometimes we can hide the mistakes that we make. It's like the louder you crank your guitar and the more that's going on around you, the less likely it is that somebody's going to hear you flub a note here and there, right? It's kind of like that. Now let's talk about kind of what he's doing. So this is really just like a big, really well-supported roar. Now, you can do this a couple ways. The way that I would approach it is I would first slide up and find where my voice wants to sort of break naturally, right? So, you hear how when I just give it a little push, there's a little bit of natural distortion coming through? Now, when I say push, I don't mean anything's happening here, okay? You can see on my throat, it's overall pretty relaxed. There's a little bit of laryngeal movement, but these outer muscles here, they're not doing a whole lot of work. What's happening is I'm expanding my rib cage and using my abdominal muscles to squeeze the abdominal cavity. So if you can start, if you want to do this, I would start there and I would start quiet and slow. Hey, 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 If you can make that noise, you are on the right track. And then over time, as you project it, hey, hey, oh, yo, hey, you can start putting it in different places. Now, this is a very pitched scream. There's a lot of pitch coming through here. Ooh, I just blasted out my microphone. Well, I'll have to take care of that later. But this is a very pitched sound. So you're not going to sound the same as the person next to you, right? Because your true voice is coming through, which is affected by your chest cavity, your sinuses, everything like this. Your voice is more than your vocal folds, right? So that being said, if you're also trying to do this and you have a vocalist you really look up to, don't try to carbon copy that person, because you might end up putting your voice in a place where it's not comfortable, right? Like, a baritone or a bass isn't going to start trying to sing like a countertenor, right? Or a tenor. Like, I'm not saying you can't get there if you're a baritone or a bass. You can certainly expand your range and get comfortable, find your way there, but you probably wouldn't start there, and you probably wouldn't judge yourself by matching that person. So if you've got a slightly different, voice, and you're like, oh, he sounds so much lower than me, don't worry about that right now. Or he sounds a lot higher than me, don't worry about that right now. I could talk about that forever, so we're going to keep going. But again, this, that's generally the pathway you're going to want to take. Let's keep going here.
Fucking fingers come discussing beauty in the firelight. Your life is worth nothing in the right. Do you still think so? Lost something by the me? No fun. You've ruined everything for yourself. So don't think I am the reason for your death. What the fuck? Another soul and feeling doesn't be away from you. You want it never know you get a thing inside my life. Bullets on your face. Bullets on your
Did I just hear the Wilhelm scream? Oh my God. Did I just hear the Wilhelm scream? Okay. For those of you who may not be aware, that scream, that like sound, that's like the sound clip that's put in. It's called the Wilhelm scream, and it shows up like everywhere. It's in Star Wars, it's in like tons of cowboy movies, it's in this music video. I don't know the origin of it. I just know it's called the Wilhelm scream, and once you hear it and realize it's everywhere, you're never going to unhear it for the rest of your life. Not sure why they put it in here. Maybe, well, I won't make any assumptions, but it's funny. It got my attention. But let's talk a little bit about one cool thing he's doing here. So he started doing more of this like playful like announcer. With some people I've called it like a hype man voice in the past, right? And it sounds different, right? So, at first he was doing more of like what we just talked about, the then he started moving more to like, hey, what the yo, right? This is another vocal style that you need to be careful with and really understand vocal support, breath support on, because anytime we're mixing distortion and true chord phonation, so the sound of our true voice, hey, that, there's a risk for damage, but if you do things properly, you don't need to worry about it. And doing things properly means expanding the ribs, using the abdominal muscles, the transverse abdominis, relaxing up top. Relaxation is the key to pretty much every vocal style that is out there. I say pretty much because there's always some outlier. There's always an outlier. But for our purposes, you want to relax as much as possible. Now, this one's pretty fun, because what you want to do is you want to kind of talk up here, right? Now, I'm not straining my voice to get up here, right? I'm not going into a space where I'm uncomfortable, because I'm finding the voice that's mine, okay? Hey, everybody, what's going on? Yeah, right there, like that. Oh! And then you can sort of give a little snarl to it, right? Now, this snarl, you want to feel all of this distortion, all of this rumble on the soft palate in the nasopharynx area, which is like the space around your soft palate, back of your tongue, very, very back of your mouth, right? And when you do things like this, you can kind of get a sort of, hey, and then I started why? Ah! You can even hear a little bit of vocal break in there. That's okay if you're supporting properly. You don't need to worry about it. But you want to take it slow and you want to develop this over time. Something to think about. Anyways, let's keep going. Oh man, I am blasting my mic no matter what I do. We're gonna have to we may have to refilm this if I can't clean this up. I don't want to refilm it because then I have to change it from reacts to analyzes and anyway, let's keep going and cross our fingers and hope for the best. Okay, so there's something I want to talk about here. It's this like guttural sound he did. Let's go back a little farther. I don't remember exactly where it was. He's super hunched over here, so that's what I'm gonna guess. You always see that. You always see gutturals being done super hunched over. So, and by the way, the hunched over thing, that's just me pointing out a performance element. You do not need to hunch over to do any metal vocals. It's a performance thing that sometimes people do, but you should not teach yourself to do things that way. There's, you're basically just smushing your whole vocal anatomy. Anyways, so this type of guttural, I'm just going to be fully transparent with you all. That's not really what I do. In fact, it's very different than what I do. All of my gutturals are a very low kind of slammy false chord that I just kind of adjust for the music that we do. Now there are a lot of layers going on and there's gain and everything like this, but this sounds much more like a Fry guttural to me. Now, I would actually want to hear this one-on-one or like maybe a raw vocal take of his, because that would expose a little bit better to me what's going on. And also it would make sure that what he's doing is safe. When I hear that sort of wheezy, hollow phonation, it's always an indicator for me to stop and investigate the technique that's being used, especially if I hear that with a student. Now, you can make this sound totally safely. So I'm not sitting here saying like this guy is doing this wrong. But what I am saying is that this is a vocal sound that when done incorrectly can cause issues and we want to put a hard stop on it. Okay. So don't necessarily try to do this right off the bat. Now, again, this is not the type of guttural that I do, but I have been around friends who have recorded this and, back like 6 or 7 years ago, had them explain it to me. And it's built, sort of out of my forte here, but it's less built on this sound, which a lot of my gutturals are built on, which is like this, right? You can hear that very low, like that false chord sound. With this, it's more of like a you hear that like sort of come through. That is closer to a Fry sound, right? You can hear that the distortion is much, much tighter, much more like TV static versus the false chord, which is very rumbly, right? This is that's what it sounds like is going on here, but he's putting a lot of true chord phonation. in with it. That's how I would investigate this if I were him. But that guttural, yeah, it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse. But that's how I would approach it. If somebody was like, "Hey, Mark, we want you to make this sound in the studio," I'd say, "Well, I'm gonna do it this way." And then I'd probably just do 2 or 3 layers of that. Anyways, let's keep going.
Oh, you son of a bitch, you're fucked! This is it! You fucking motherfucker! Switch that fucking beat down! Fucking pussies! You can never fucking kill me, you cowards! Cause I am the fucking cursed one! Bitch! What's up, motherfuckers? This is it!
That ending was dope. That outro was sick. Really cool. Really playful, but really heavy at the same time. You know, there was that guttural again. Yeah, I'd love to pick his brain about that one and actually hear it outside of the context of the music. Now, one thing I love is his use of more of like an oof versus a bleh, right? I think that's kind of cool. Kind of reminds me of this black metal band. It's been a long time since I listened to them. Darkened Nocturne Slaughter Cult, I think is what they're called. They do a lot of that to transition. But really cool song. Little bit. This was definitely a little bit outside of my wheelhouse, but very, very fun. Very, very interesting. Again, if you are going to attempt these more shouted, yelling vocals, really make sure your breath support is in place. If you need help with breath support, I am here. Happy to help you out. And again, if you like the content, if you thought it was fun, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to contribute, we do have a Patreon. It's pretty simple. Our patrons get to vote on reaction videos, one a month. We have a live Discord where we hang out. The other day we were playing Categories because we just had some free time and we felt like doing it. It's pretty small. We're keeping it pretty small, but it's pretty fun at the same time. That's about all I got today. I should probably go because I got the rest of the week's work to finish in one day somehow. Not sure how I'm going to pull it off, but we're going to do our best. And as always, many thanks. Much love.